Oh, hello. Hi. Welcome to a book review of Experience the Point, Cedar Point, 3rd edition by someone named Andrew Hyde. The name sounds familiar. Anyway, what is my review of this book? Well, despite it being very thin, it is actually very informative. As while I'm not the biggest Cedar Point enthusiast, and I'm sure many Cedar Point people will mention that this book from 2007 contains generic information. For me, I found a lot of information. I found a lot of unique information. For example, I figured out the size of Cedar Point's parking lot. I figured out that at one point, and I don't know if they still do this, but Cedar Point used to sell Knott's Berry Farmed branded jellies. Um, I did find stuff out about the various hotels. For example, I had no idea that Hotel Breakers actually had an indoor swimming pool. It also lists various side attractions where, even though I've been to Cedar Point technically 3 times, officially twice, um, I never knew some of these existed. I mean, I knew the obvious ones like Putin Bay and okay, that's about it. But I had no idea that there was a haunted house. I had no idea that there was a nearby water park called Monsoon Lagoon. I had no idea that there was a place where you could bet on horse racing. It also lists information regarding the indoor water park resorts of the time, including the Great Wolf Lodge, Castaway Bay, and the Kalahari, along with rumors of um, future indoor water parks that were planned and proposed for the area. So I would recommend this. I would recommend this book, Experience the Point, 3rd edition by Andrew Hyde. If you're gonna ask me, do I have any negatives to say about this book? Um, the two that I will say is, first of all, it doesn't go into significant detail regarding some of the smaller attractions such as Cadillac cars and Dodgems. Um, and another one I will say is that regarding food places and gift shops, it tends to mainly just like blow past them. There's one, let's see. Let me go to one of the pages. This is how you know that I do not have this fully planned. Okay. When talking about the food on the Top Thrill Dragster Midway, um, as opposed to as opposed to individually listing each one, it says under Top Thrill Dragster Grandstand, there's a few food outlets offering hot dogs and other snacks. Numerous other small stands and food outlets line the midway offering your favorite theme park snacks. I do wish that it went into a little more detail regarding various names and various shows that are offered. I apologize, but I find that information as a theme park fan very interesting. It also tells me a little bit about the author, which in 2007 hosted a weekly modern rock radio show on 88.7 FM. That's kind of interesting. And you also find out various things. For example, you find out what his favorite water park attractions are, and some of his favorite things at Michigan's Adventure. Because as it is a Cedar Fair park, he does also mention various other Cedar Fair parks and past benefits. I would recommend this book for historical purposes, and I would recommend this book because I find that most most guidebooks or most guidebooks that I read about theme parks are very generic, bare bones, and just do GP stuff. And some of the worst ones include listings of rides that aren't even at the park. And I don't mean like not at the park 10 years later. I mean not at the park 2 years before the book was published. But yeah, overall, I find this book very interesting. And there are also some very funny moments as well. There's a moment where he's talking about Skyhawk and he says, "You don't have to worry about throwing up your elephant ear." Which my friend KD is a huge fan of elephant ear, so I found that pretty funny. He also has very witty wording, I would say, or witty writing. Sorry to alliterate you. But one of the things that I found funny was in Johnny Rockets, he says they're famous for their flavored sodas. Whatever that means. I am joking. I do know who Andrew Hyde is. He's a he's very clever and he's very smart, and follow him on Twitter. He's very entertaining. Um it also shows you the about the author page, so and he looks a little different than he does nowadays. I'll just leave it at that. This is the third edition. Um, and I am planning to get the first and second edition because even though they might be from 2001 or even 2004 or something, it's still good to be able to read up on theme park history to learn from future mistakes. I give it a I would say probably out of 5 stars. I'm probably going to give it a 4.4. 4.4 out of 5 stars. Take care.